Hello and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Dartscast. Alex Moss here. We're back with another episode in our Darts Legends series. This time we're joined by a former BDO World Champion, a former World Master and the first ever PDC World Champion. He's a member of the PDC's Hall of Fame. Here's our chat with Dennis, the Menace Priestley. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the two-time World Champion Dennis Priestley. Thank you very much for the time, Dennis. How are you doing?
You're welcome. Yes, I'm doing fine. Thanks, Alex.
Good to hear, and we're starting all these Darts Legends episodes by going right back to the beginning with our players, and for you it was a little bit of luck really that you got into darts. I understand a jockey, Pat Edery, he won a 1975 Derby and you had a certain bet on that race as well.
Yes, that's right, yeah. So with the winnings I decided to buy a set of tungsten darts, replacing some brass ones I was using. I wasn't playing very often, probably once a week. I got the tungsten darts and started playing a little more.
What was it about wanting to get a new set of darts and play a bit more? What was the thinking behind that to begin with?
Well, it was the innovation of tungsten. A slimmer barrel, you could have a weighty dart with a slimmer barrel compared to the brass ones. The first ones I got was Willie Etherington 26 gram, £11.20. Suppose it was expensive really in 70s when you look at the price of some darts you can buy.
Definitely, and it was a few years later really that we see your name really crop up in a big event, 1989, the News of the World. But before then, were you starting to play more darts? Were you starting to enter more tournaments? What happened during that period of time?
Well, round my area in the early 80s, late 70s, a lot of pubs were putting £100 to win a tournament on. You play one, you get drawn out, you play, and then if you won, obviously you'd be back in the draw and you'd play another a week after maybe. It was the landlord's way of getting people to come in and drink the beer and socialise by having this competition, and there's quite a lot in my area. I started picking those on £100 up. It got me more interested. I was playing from one day a week. I ended up playing in leagues five or six times a week.
And so talk to me about the News of the World itself. What are your memories of that tournament getting to the final?
I mean, obviously, I'd tried many times to qualify from Yorkshire, and I finally achieved that feat in '89. Remember it well that I became the Yorkshire qualifier by winning in Leeds against a top class field of Yorkshire dart players, all county players and England internationals, etc. Actually, that the News of the World would have been nice to have had on the CV, but I actually, on the day of the Bradford fire disaster, I did win a tournament in the Winter Gardens where the match players played. It was called the Dunlop Classic, which probably was a major breakthrough for me in '85. I'd been playing for Yorkshire a couple of years, and then I'd started venturing out from the £100 competitions in the pub to county competitions where there was £1,000 for winner. And we kept trying to win those. I won the Yorkshire Classic, which is run by Yorkshire Darts. I won that 3 times, I think, during the 80s. So, it was just a steady progression from a county player to an England player to the News of the World in '89, and then the World Championship in '91.
Absolutely, yeah. I want to come onto that in a moment, but it's the 90s really when you're starting to progress even more. The British Masters getting to the final, beating some top players. The World Masters losing out to Phil Taylor in the semi-finals, but some great runs there in some big events, and that must have gave you a lot of confidence really going into what was your Lakeside debut at the start of 1991.
Yeah, that's right. I first met Encounters. I mean, I'd never heard of him until I played in a tournament where the top 8 ranked people in England took on the top 8 ranked people in the averages for the counties. We played that down south. I think it was Western Supermare or something like that. It was televised on the Swedish, the Sky B, I think. Because there was two on the go then. I mean, obviously Sky became dominant, and these Sky B fell away. But that was the tournament what we played, and the county players, the top 8, was drawn against a seeded player, 1 to 8, what was in the seeds. I ended up playing Phil in the final, losing 2-1. That set it going, knowing how good Phil Taylor was. And I think that was in the September, and then in the January, I got into the embassy by right as 22nd seed, and I looked at the draw, and it was Phil Taylor in the quarters. And that particular time, if you made the quarters, you was invited back. That was me. That was my aim to win the first 2 games and then play Phil Taylor, knowing that I was going to come back the year after to play in the embassy again, which was the holy grail of darts at that particular time. Well, the rest is history, as I say.
Yeah, it definitely is. And just looking back to that week at Lakeside, obviously making your debut at the embassy, how are you feeling going to Lakeside and playing in that event for the first time, the biggest event in darts at the time?
Well, I just went and took each game. I mean, it's an old cliche what they say. I got my first round draw, which was Magnus Caddis, who had done exactly what I was trying to do. He made the last 8 or semi-finals to get back in. He was an experienced player, and I looked at Magnus and I thought, well, there's no reason why I can't beat this guy. And everything went quite smoothly. I didn't really suffer from my first debut game in the embassy. I didn't suffer with many nerves, and I think I won every leg. I don't think I dropped a leg, actually. I think I won 3-0, 3-0, 3-0. I think I won 9 legs on trot. And then my next game was Bob Sinead, the Canadian veteran of playing in the embassy. He'd played in it quite a lot of times, and I did the same thing there. I don't think I lost many 501 legs then. So then that got me to where I wanted to be. Invited back next year and playing the reigning world champ.
Yes, you've got the invite for next year. You're in the quarterfinals on your debut. You're going up against the defending champion, the top seed Phil Taylor, and from 3-1 down, you come back and win 4-3, and with 161 checkout to win it as well. That must have been very special.
I knew there was some big checkouts in it somewhere, and Phil did have an odd dart here and there to actually win the match. He didn't have that many darts, but he did have the odd one in a leg. I mean, I haven't seen it for a long time. I don't know I don't think he ever had 3 clear darts, to win or anything like that. But he did. I know he did have the odd dart to take me out, which that was the only one where I could have lost, to be quite honest.
And so after that, you get past Bob Anderson, another former winner of the embassy, 5-2 in the semi-finals, and then we come on to the final.
I looked at that again, and I thought, well, I've played Bob before, and in that tournament I was explaining what was on the square dish, the Sky B. I believe I played Bob in the semi-finals and beat him in that. So I'm thinking, well, I'm good enough to beat Bob. I shouldn't have any fears, and I think I won 5 sets to 2, which was quite convincing, really.
And even more convincing was the final itself, 6-0 against Eric Bristow to win the World Championship for the first time. You couldn't have dreamt of a better final to go like that, to win 6 sets to love.
And it was same sort of scenario. We'd been over in America playing tournaments. It was a long weekend. We used to go and play too. We used to go and play Los Angeles. We'd get in on a Friday, go down and enter something what was going on, and then it'd be singles and everything. There were lots of different ones that weekend, and then the weekend after was the American people's major one. It was in Las Vegas, so it was like 8 to 9 days. And I played Eric in the Los Angeles final and beat him quite comfortably. There again, I reason, was there? To be frightened of playing. So that's what happened there. I did get thrown off track. I was telling you about Kevin Kenny. We was roommates as it happened, and it looked like it could be a possible final between two unknowns, to be honest. Anyway, but Eric triumphed in the semi-final, which, to be fair, was I was sorry for Kevin, but it was better for me that I played the legend in the final. I probably ended up having more respect and kudos by beating Eric than if I'd have, beat Kevin.
What was the feeling like when the winning double goes in and you are a world champion and you're lifting that trophy on that Lakeside stage?
Oh, well, obviously. It's a long time since, but the memory's still fresh. We went off for a break at that particular time. I was 5-0 up, and I'm thinking, I could do without having this break at this particular time. And we went in the back, went to toilet, etc., or whatever, and I just relaxed and just had a few practice starts, and I kept telling myself, right, all it is now, you're going back on, you're playing a county game, best of 5 legs, you've got to win it. And I think Eric probably had one of his best legs in that particular set. But I triumphed 3-1 in that final set, because I don't think Eric actually won many legs at all anyway, maybe 3 at most. But and all I kept thinking, I don't want to go out, I want to win it, but I don't want to be having so many missed darts at double, etc., looking like I was going to blow it or anything like that. And I kept telling myself this, and I took 101 out, I think, to win it. Yes, it was treble 60, single 9, double 16 to win what I thought was a nice clinical ending to the final.
Definitely was. You're a world champion. The following year you then become a world master, 1992, and you often say that those semi-final and final performances that you put in are right up there with the best in your career, 100 plus averages in both those games.
Yeah, I mean, it's what they try to achieve now, and that was in 92. Yeah, I had 35 point something per dart against Alan Warriner, and that was courtesy of a couple of the big finishes as well. And then I was 2-0 down in the final to Mike Gregory. What was, he was a great competitor. And then after I'm 2-0 down, there was only one game. I won 3-2. There was only one game where I went above 15 darts. I did watch that a couple of times, and that was the final leg, and for me to win. And I did have darts to do it below 15, but luckily I'd had my chance to win, and Mike actually had a throw at a double, and I took it out with the second dart, and that was nearly a 35 average, 34 point something. But that was the tension and the pent-up feeling after concentrating so hard to win. That was exhausting. I remember it quite vividly. It was nothing like the Embassy, where I was not uptight or anything like that. I really had to dig deep to win that win now.
And not long after that, we see the split happen in darts with the WDC as it was, now the PDC as we know it happened. What were your first memories really of the split happening and knowing that something like that might be in the offing?
Well, there wasn't that much talk. I mean, the windmill was in the December of '92, and there wasn't that much talk about it until we all met up to play in the Embassy in January '93, and then it all come to a head. Tommy Cox, Dick Halix, and one or two others, canvassing people to look at breaking away, and we did have meetings there. It come to head really by the promise that we could have one logo on a shirt, and at the final minutes or final hours they reneged on that, so that really brought that to a boiling point as well. I remember Jockey having to cut a logo out of his shirt on, and other people having black tape put over the logo, what they were promised they could wear, which were trivial when you look back on the BDO's part, really. You know, they negotiated with BBC that it was okay, and then reneged, the last minute, which was really stupid, and that's what caused it all, to be fair.
And so you're one of the big names that makes the switch, along with the likes of Phil Taylor, Eric Bristow, a lot of the big names. What are you thinking when that switch happens and you're now going into the unknown, I suppose, a little bit?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was a final of, we called 93 the final of discontent. It was a funny tournament, that 93 one. You know, there was Alan Warner got to final, which on form, as they played during that week, it was odds-on favourite, but he succumbed to nerves, and John got all the experience in the world, and he triumphed with it was a very poor final, to be honest. I think it was low 80s or something like that, the average. And it was the final of discontent.
And so with this new organisation, the WDC as it was then, you're looking to push darts on, but I suppose one thing that gets left behind really for yourself is that you were about to be announced, or you were just been announced, the England captain. You never got to captain the England team.
Yeah, obviously a massive disappointment. I'd had my greatest year ever. The 92 was my best year ever. I think I played in 17 tournaments and won 13 and lost in a couple of finals and the semis and something. And I was disappointed with myself. If I was going to get a second embassy, really it ought to have been 93, because I was such the dominant player all of 92 that, it was unbelievable. And it just didn't work out for me for some reason. It was either Alan Warren who beat me or Steve Beaton. I know that they're the two people what actually did beat me in the embassies, because I played it 3 times. Won it obviously in 91, and Steve Beaton and Alan Warren were 2 people what beat me. But 93, I look back on that, and the form I'd shown over 92, all of the year 92. I should have made it pay there.
But you didn't have long to wait to win that second World Championship. Of course, the first ever WDC World Championship at the end of 93, early 94 at the Circus Tavern. But going into that tournament, obviously going into the unknown, that the first ever staging of it, what was the general feel among the players of how it was going to go?
Well, I mean, that was something very new to us. Again, we were playing in 8 sections of 3 players. I mean, it was a struggle to get 24 players, because we'd been banned, and there was obviously 16 what had broke away. But then again, before that started, 2 went back. So all of a sudden we've got to try and find 10 players, mostly American. I think there was maybe an odd Canadian. I just can't remember his name. Big tall chap. He's died now. God bless him. From Ireland. Tom Kirby, yeah. It was like I said, we had a struggle to get 24 players together. To be fair, I mean, obviously there was still the best 14 players in the world there. What had broke away, but we still got to make it up with 10 others.
You come through the field of that one, the 24-player field, get to the final, you're the top seed, and do a real job on Phil Taylor's 6-1 win to pick up your second world title.
Yeah, and to be fair, Alex, I went into the 94 with not much expectations to be. I hadn't been playing all that well leading up to it, and I just got better and better as it went on. It probably helped that I did a couple of group games, to get me in and get settled and practice. Me and Jockey set the tournament off. We were the first 2 players to throw a dart in anger in the 94 World Championship, and I wished it could have been me, but it wasn't actually. That I had a 140 my first throw, and Jockey followed with a 180, or Jockey had a 180 and I followed with a 140. It was six nearly perfect darts to set the tournament going. I played Jockey, was in my group, and I just can't recall who the other player was now. And obviously then it got down to knockout stage, and I think I played Tom Kirby in the last 8, semi-final wise. I can't remember who it was. I mean, I I can run through Embassy all my opponents, but I just can't remember who was in my group, and I played in the semi. Obviously, as you said, I played Phil Taylor, and things just went perfect. We had a break at 5-0 up, and we came back, and Phil took a set. I thought, I hope he's not going to make this tremendous fight back. Anyway, I put it to bed in the 7th set. I think it was 8-8 I won it on.
And so you're now a two-time world champion. How do the two titles compare, though? Obviously winning the one at the Embassy and then winning this, what would turn out to be a huge event that the PDC won as well.
Well, obviously the very first one, I think most dart players will tell you it's the first one what always stands in my mind. You know, it put me on the road to being a professional dart player. I gave my job up and concentrated down darts solely. And then by winning the Embassy, that's what enabled me to do that. So I mean, obviously that's the sweetest one, winning the Embassy.
And looking at those early days in the WDC, PDC, you played a massive part in its growth. I mean, looking at the big events themselves, 3 consecutive finals in the World Match Play, 3 consecutive World Championship finals as well.
Disappointment, then I never actually won that. But I should have won it at least a couple of times in them finals. I was leading quite easily in the first one, and I got distracted. I think I was leading 7-2 against Larry Butler, and we went off for a break. And he said, "Dennis, will you have a word with the MC?" And the crowd was making too much noise. I mean, I was concentrating, and I was in the swing of things, and I never, I'd shut myself off. I didn't hear the crowd or anything. But then it got into my head, and that's all I could hear. Then after that, as he brought it to me, whether it was a ploy and he did it on purpose, or they were genuinely upset by what the crowd were doing, I can't really say to that, but we definitely lost it with that.
You also had a great rivalry with Phil Taylor, who we've mentioned a few times, but looking back at some of those world finals as well, as I mentioned, you get to 3 consecutive ones, 96, 97, 98, the first of those, 96, the first player ever to get 100 plus average in a world championship final.
Yeah, I had slightly better average than Phil as it happens, but as we all know, averages don't win your games, do they? Yeah, we had some. I mean, there's one disappointing final where I lost 6-0, but the others was quite. They were competitive. They were, a dart either wrong side of wire, and I could have been in. And I remember aspects of it where bull ball and wire double 16, which would have won me a set. Treble 20, wire double 10 had won me another set instead of being 3 apiece. Your 4-2 and the big game changers. I remember one where that particular happened, where I missed that finish, and Phil still had an 80 to check out to win the set, and it was he did it single 20 double top. I mean, it still needed to be hit, and he hit it, and that could have been probably 3 apiece. Looking in the context of the game, instead of 3 apiece, like I say, I'm 4-2 down. You can look back on things and it's ifs and buts.
But you look back at those early days in the PDC, yours and Phil's was a massive rivalry. I mean, just looking at World Championship finals, 5 of the first 7 were contested between you two. What was that rivalry like, being involved in it during that time?
Well, obviously, yeah, we without doubt the 2 outstanding players during the 90s. I mean, has there been as long a rivalry since as what me and Phil had in the 90s? Nearly 10 years, because I played in the 2000 final, banging heads together for 10 years, consistently, in finals, not semis and things, but finals. Yeah, it was a great rivalry. I mean, obviously, I'm exactly 10 years older than Phil, and he started to take its toll later on. I don't think I lost my ability really as much as I lost the mental side of it after the late 90s, to be quite honest. I wasn't concentrating as hard, and unfortunately my game was a little bit slower than the others, and the concentration had to be at its peak. And when that started to wane, that's when I started to not be as successful.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your playing style. Obviously, you've said before in the past about how concentration is a massive part of your game. And was that a style that you've always had when you first started playing, or was that something that came later on?
Well, once I got on television, I did probably slow down a couple of seconds, because I wanted to make sure that it was only the first start where I made sure I was rock solid on the hockey and got my arm up and waited for it to steady before I actually threw the first dart. My other two darts after the first one was as quick as anybody's, especially if first dart had gone where I wanted it to go. But that was another thing what started to play on my mind and get me down. That it was always being talked about. We were doing timings. I think it was 17 seconds, and somebody else did it faster. They were faster. They were 12 seconds. And I mean, looking at it now, I should have thought, oh, bugger you, you know, I mean, what's 5 seconds here or there? But, obviously, you can look back on things and I'd have done things differently. I'd have kept myself fitter for one thing, gone into exercise more and that, because I had a physical job before I took professional darts up, and probably the conditioning of my body over that 10 years from 91 to year 2000, when I become 50-year-old, the condition of my body, muscle-wise, had started to deteriorate, and there's a lot of things I'd have done different.
But even though 2000, that was to be your last big final, there was still some highs throughout what was to be the final years of your career. I mean, look at 2007, getting the call up for the Premier League through the rankings to play in that tournament. It was only the third year that the Premier League had been running, but what was that like to play in a tournament still early in its infancy, but what's turned out to be a huge event now?
Well, yeah, I mean, firstly, I was very disappointed that I wasn't included in the first one. So that gave me the motivation, to be quite honest. And I told everybody, I says, I'm gonna get back up the rankings now, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm in this next Premier. And I did. Well, I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I got my way back up to number 4 or something like that, so they couldn't ignore me. And that's what I did. I did what I said I was going to do. When I saw the quality of players, what was in it, and I'd been overlooked, I wasn't too pleased, to be quite honest.
Well, you get into the Premier League and you made a great start as well. You won 4 of your first 5 games. The other game a draw with Phil Taylor. What are your memories really of playing in the Premier League for the first time?
But the memories, Alex, is how tiring it was, because we were still going and travelling for tournaments at weekend. You know, we'd do these tournaments and we'd probably get home on a Monday, and then we were packing our bags to go to the Premier League on a Wednesday. And if it was closer to home, then it was Thursday. But it was really tiring, to be honest. As you said, I set off fantastically, and if you look at it, how I fell away, petered out of it really. That was more fatigue and the constant grind of week in, week out. And don't forget, I'm 57 at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And the following year, 2008, you get to a couple of big semi-finals, the World Match Play being the biggest one, but obviously you'd only just returned to the circuit. You had your health problems a little while before.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. I mean, it was 2007 I was doing the Premier League, and I was having waterworks problems, and from the October of 07, I got diagnosed in the October, and then I had it out. I had it out in the January of 2008, and like I said, I got to a semi, I think, in the match play then, didn't I? The other one in double out in Dublin, that was October. Unfortunately, I had to have a month of radiotherapy in the September, and that were another thing what well, I didn't think they played fair. I kept sent to be going on last in Dublin, and I remember one particular game against Wayne Mardell. I actually dug in and won the game, and actually just dropped down on stage and pretended to be asleep because it was that late. You know, I don't think the kid. I'm not saying they should have done either, but I think they should have been a little bit more considerate of what I'd gone through. A month of radiotherapy in September, and then putting me on late spots, really late in the match play in the Grand Prix.
Following that, I suppose really the highlights really for you must have really come away from the TV. I mean, you had a quarter-final at the Circus Tavern, the Players' Championship finals, a memorable comeback against John Park from 5-0 down to win 6-5. But what are you thinking in those years?
Well, I hadn't. I mean, we went off for a break again at 5-0 down, and I'm thinking, well, I'm 5-0 down here, and I've not really played that bad. I was 5-0 down because I'd not hit me doubles, to be quite honest. And it just changed when I got back. I thought, I'm not going to be losing 6-0 here. I took one leg, I took the second leg, and all of a sudden it's 5-4, and then it's 5-5, and poor old John Park was thinking, well, this last leg's taking some winning to get over the finishing line, and and John, when he's done interview, he says he said he didn't really do anything wrong to lose 6-5. He had the odd dart here and there. It was a good fight back there, especially when the crowd had got placards up, taxi for Priestley.
Yeah.
It was a nice, intimate little venue, actually, Circus Tavern.
Yeah, some great memories for you there, and I suppose after that, really, 2014, they're the final tournament you play on the professional tour. 2015, you announced your retirement from the professional game. Were you feeling that was the point really then to call it a day?
I mean, they don't have to pay now to go into Opens, do they, at weekends at Wigan and etc. But I paid me 220 quid. I'd gone one day, and I pushed myself to go that day, and I got up next day to go. I think it was Wigan, and I said to wife, I'm not going. I've had enough, and that was it. You know, and it's not a typical Yorkshireman's trait is giving throwing £100 about. So I thought, well, if I can't motivate myself to go, it's pointless. And there were long tiring days, you know. You'd be there at 11 to clock in to register. You might not play until 1 o'clock. And then if you had a good run, it'd be 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock before you'd finish. I mean, I did win quite a few of these Opens, to be honest. Won a couple in Ireland, I won Bristol, and I ought to rip my achievements down, really, but I know I didn't do too bad in the Opens. And one particular one I'm very proud of, that I won the Australian Masters when I was 60 years old. I don't think there's many people what's won a tour event at 60 years old.
No, a great achievement, but you call it a day on the professional circuit, obviously still involved with exhibitions and little bits and pieces like that. Is that something that you're still interested in and keen to do still?
Yes, because that gets me to meet the people personally. I always tried to give my best when I was on the circuit in televised ones. I would never refuse an interview or a signature, you know. And I'd stop there and sign everybody's, whereas I used to be disappointed with some fellow professionals that they never gave the paying customers what they deserved, to be honest.
And we're finishing up all these interviews that we do on the Darts Legends series with a few questions. Firstly, starting with a look at the future of darts. Obviously, you're one of only a few select players that have won both the BDO and the PDC World Championship. Starting with the PDC, though, what do you see for the future in the PDC?
Well, there's going to be tough times there, Alex, I'm afraid. Everything's paid for by the Premier League, and if they can't get that back up and running, to generate the finances with crowds, then it's going to be, we're on a sticky wicket, aren't we? To be quite honest, it's not looking good just at present, because it could be another year or so before they're letting crowds in. You just don't know. We just hope for a inoculation against it, don't we? So they can find a cure.
Yeah, definitely. And what about the BDO? They've been on some tough times recently over the last few years. What do you see for the future with them?
Well, it was a shambles, wasn't it? I worked with a guy who won it, and that was in February. He won it in early January. I worked with him in February at O2 Arena. He hadn't even been paid. And deadline, I think we played on the Saturday or Sunday, and the deadline was the Monday, and it didn't look like he was going to get his money then. And that had been reduced from 100 grand. I think he ended up with 23 grand from it. I mean, a complete shambles, and they made him look silly, didn't they, really?
Yeah, and one question that we've had come in from John Lowe, he said to ask you about China and the soft tip event that had a record 37 million people watching on live TV.
Did they? I didn't realise it was so many. Yeah, that was an eye-opener, to be quite honest, yeah. It wasn't what I expected when we got there. I mean, it was just like hitting New York and Chicago with the skyscrapers, or being in the middle of the money centre in London, with high buildings. It was modern, very modern, and yeah, the soft tip. There was good crowds watching live. I didn't realise there was all that millions watching on TV. Yeah, it was an eye opener, and I met some very interesting people. Yes, there was one tall lady what played Olympics at basketball, and then from going from a big tall lady, 7 foot something, to a real small dainty little Chinese girl, what actually won the tournament. She beat John in the semi-final, something like 4-0 or 4-1, and I lost to the other guy, and then she went and actually murdered the guy I lost to on in the final. Yeah, she was very cute, petite, small little Chinese girl, but such a brilliant thrower. Finally,
we're finishing up all these interviews by asking our players, when you get asked what's your favourite moment playing darts, being involved in darts, which one stands out the most for you?
Well, setting me on the road to doing something what I loved playing, and it was winning the embassy. If I hadn't have won that, I would never have turned professional. My life would have been entirely different. I'd have probably still been lugging 50 kilo bags of coal about, or it just come right, really. I was 40 years old when I won. Do you want to be lugging 8 stone, 50 kilo bags of fuel about in your 40s, late 40s, 50s, and until I retired? So everything, I've been very lucky. Everything dropped into place just at the right time.
Well, Dennis, it's a pleasure to chat to you, talk to you about a great career that you've had in the game. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Dennis for joining us, and we'll be back next Monday with another episode in our Legend series. Going to be joined by Roland Sholton. Look forward to that one next week. This Thursday we should be back with another episode in our Riley's Lockdown Challenge, courtesy of Matthew Kin and the Darting Nerd. A few more chats with some former UK Open qualifiers from Riley, so look forward to that. But until next time, hang tight.